Transitioning Humanitarians live session that we continue leading together with Viki every Thursday. And we have Viki and the special guest today. Hello to you or both.
Yeah, so hello everyone, and
Hello.
I'll welcome already Thomas Chatelard and give him immediately the floor, if that is okay, to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, about your work, your humanitarian career, and yeah.
Thank you, Vicky. Welcome to welcoming me. Welcome to the viewers. So my name is. I'm currently working for handicap, but I've been working for ICRC years in total on the field for protection of civilian population in the HR department. Move out of the humanitarian sector for 3 years. During this time, I started my own business. Actually, for the last part, I was doing some HR and on the some coaching and therapist in hypnosis. And I decided to again, like a more Italian job can be normal, a page, which was made after doing remember the translation in French, an assessment of my competencies, and which someone specialized in. The outcome was be at my place work and so I said, okay, let's go actor again, and I opened news job, and there was one for handicap at the headquarters, which is an hour and a half. That's how I ended up again in the human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is a bit of a delay. I don't know if in hearing you with the picture and the speech. Are you hearing this, Asel, as well?
Yes, exactly. So we apologize for the viewers because Thomas are in the countryside, as we understand. So there might be that technical issue. But if anything is not clear, you let us know, and Thomas will, of course, clarify in further messages. But for now, I feel like I'm also getting some of the delay, but I feel I understand most of what's happening. And also, I forgot to mention that there might be also technical issues from my side of electricity going off or something else. So if we disappear, you will know why that is, and we apologize for that. So, continuing the conversation, nevertheless, Thomas, the question that I think many humanitarians want to know is what it is like to be back where you started from or where you came from or whatever the way you call it, right? And how is that transitioning in that sense? And how was it for you? Maybe you could share your experience of that.
It's really interesting experience for me. First, because when I saw that I would not come back. I decided at the time to do something else, to really and as an entrepreneur, and I'm still an entrepreneur side. Being to the humanitarian sector nourishes me. I haven't had opportunities to nourish. First, also because very lonely life. I mean, I was working, being an independent, and now with working back in the humanitarian sector, I'm in a team that people around me, we and that's really important. And also to still have, even sense in what I do. There is this aspect of greater world. I don't know if working for a greater world, alleviating at least suffering in the world gives in my life, definitely. Though it may sound a little bit like the new bee coming to the humanitarian sector and wanted to change the world. At the end, I think what now is to take us to not be that involved and to be more realistic. The humanitarian sector, and also be in terms of what we can expect from our realities of the field also. I mean, a lot of things. Now I come back, let's say, this emotional engagement with also, I don't want to say, but maybe, with more what's going on in the sector, or I'm okay with that. What I would find, no sector is not perfect. That the organization are pressuring the staff. If you don't take off, nobody will do it for you. So I actually do acts and not exaggerate in terms of for that. I managed to send, and by that feel that I managed to what's in the sector, and also with the rest of being a dad, my garden, and
Yeah. Thank you for this explanation. I really appreciate what you're saying, and it reminds me a little bit. There are two things that are coming to my mind as you're speaking. One is when I was starting my business journey, I was told that it can be a lonely place. And even as an introvert, and even as a person who likes to be by myself, that sort of very much resonates to what you're saying, is that the team dynamics is important. So this is also one of the very important factors. And we transitioning humanitarians, or anyone who has worked in teams, I mean, suddenly being without the team for extended period of time can be a challenge. So I think it's also one of the things that we need to prepare ourselves, or then really do something about it as for yourself. But even myself also, it was one of my main motivations to go back and to work partly for a team, because this was also one of the things I was missing. And second thing, I'm also hearing what you're saying is in terms of there is a lots of learning and loads of that from the previous experience that you are transferring to your new job, which is very interesting. And the third thing I wanted to say is that I talked about it once in one of the posts. Is there was a writer called Marcia Bowery, I think, and she talks in terms of slashers, so people who have a part-time that work in two careers at the same time. And for you, this is and I think it could be very interesting for our transitioning humanitarians as a model, that you stay for in some aspect in humanitarian career, or you rejoin in a different shape or form. But you also have your side business, right? You also have your business that is also sort of motivation, and you're offering something to people.
Yeah. But more an integration of fact that I am very to be stimulated, and of doing new things. And when I started my business, I realized to do just one thing. So aspect in my own business. I want one side, therapy on the other one, people on cold expert work. So it is, but now I'm still adding new on that. I'm working with the men's office and protected space, reconnect with emotions, the sensibility of an aspect I'm working on. And you're right that all those aspects, vision of a slasher, it's also some. I mean the fact that I have been identified, meaning being to express topics, and this was also a very relation and learning on that. Yeah, nice career in the humanitarian sector, but in other places in my life, and not humanitarian, but as an says that I was not that successful at the beginning for the last. It was important also, and I want to journey, and it needs a lot of work and a successful entrepreneur, and about failure. I learned being okay with about investing myself into all that, and yeah, it's yeah, this act is really prepare me to sector, because I'm so another perspective on how to handle some work relationship also, etc.
Yes. So, Thomas, one of the things that I think you mentioned about the man and emotion, if I heard you right, and this is, I think, the topic that we haven't really addressed much, and that's one of the fundamentals of our lives, emotions, yet we don't have much conversations about, I mean, as much as we could, right? So, and I'm happy that you mentioned that. So maybe one of the things we could talk about is how do you how are you working around it, or what are the things that you're learning about emotions, especially when it comes to transitioning. I find the biggest thing you need to work on is emotions, like emotions in terms of learning to be okay with failing, learning to be okay with disappointment, learning to be okay with all the frustrations and everything else, and learning to also generate all the other emotions that you want in those moments, right? Without expecting external validation or external success to confirm that everything is fine or whatever. Because a lot of the times those external validations may not be there when we're transitioning. So that's why I really would love for you to talk a bit about how your journey was to learn about emotions, to apply that in your own life, and also the effect of that in your own life.
Thank you, Asel. I want to start with the humanitarian sector. It was in 20. I was angry. I felt that I was not who I was. I had been treated badly, and I was very frustrated and clearly burnt. Not necessarily by the fact that I was huge amounts of power because I was emotionally extreme in my organization, extreme in the work, and I felt that it was receiving a fair treatment compared to my involvement and not really in a good relationship. So when I had to handle this, and I don't want to be dragged down burnout, and I did for myself, and it was a mental took that actually life, because I did to take care of myself. I decided to exposure. So I heard about the name Wim Hof, and stayed 2 hours. And a friend of mine told me about it, and he said, "I do it." And I looked into it, and it, etc. And interesting. And he was talking about the fact that it helps about coping issues, etc. And also management. So to learn how to breathe different, to have like daily breathing, and also to have daily, and it did change my life. Definitely helped me to learn how to breathing is connected to the nervous system, and we have the sympathetic and the breathing. It triggers them differently to breathe with the top part of your lungs. And when I learned that, I'm training my body on how I was then handle my emotions also better, because to physical reaction when I'm stressed and I breathe with my upper part, like the body is excited, then I counter it with the breathing. And all my state goes down. Actually, I have this emotion coming. I notice it. I welcome it. Also, some time to learn how to welcome it, to recognize them, and to just say, okay, it's okay to. The second part was also okay. I'm angry to say it. I am angry. And normal, and it's okay to be angry. And what then I'm going too far. From that, for me to work on my from being able to name, I was able to name my need. I'm angry because stimulation that why is it making me angry? This that my need is this. I want to be respected. I want, etc. And when the day I was my needs on writing, I would say, was naming who I was, then I was on what I want to do, to actually and say, okay, I want to do that because, and it will reach this need, and that's why I will not do that because it doesn't nourish me.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. I really like what you're saying, because it really confirms how important knowing oneself is, like how we really need to go down and go deeper within ourselves in whatever way is available to us, to really know ourselves, to know, as you say, who am I and what I really want. Because without that, and that's often not an easy journey. Often we need to answer difficult questions to ourselves, because without that,
Yes.
we will only be right. We will only be following somebody else's ideas. Or sometimes I see people, oh, just tell me what to do. Like, I'm just so tired of these explorations. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And it's impossible, right? Like you cannot create a shortcut for someone. So thank you for mentioning that. And thank you for mentioning also the tool, right? For you, the tool that helped you manage the emotions was the Wim Hof method, breathing, and all the related to that. For others, it may be other things, but I think that's one of the principal lessons from what you're saying is really to know oneself and to know what is going to be helpful for me, what is going to be helpful in my process, how do I manage all these different emotions, and that again might require trials and errors and trials. But Thomas, I would like to also ask you, now that you are talking about the tools that have helped you, is there anything else or anyone else that has been useful for you on your journey that you have described?
Mm,
Obviously, Thomas first.
um, I think that there is one that became extremely important for me. It was a reconnection um, because of exercise and cold baths, to nature in the lake, in food during, and outside I started on my garden and things like that. Of the COVID in France was down, and that luckily I had a garden. I had a garden because I thought it was important for me. It was a need there, and as a choice, because I'm far from the main cities, but a lot when just before our call, I was outside, and to this from the work, it helped the period after I needed this to put my hand into the matter, to the ground, into the soil, into seeding things. And recently, which had a huge impact, I built my own house. So you see, there is wood around me,
Yeah.
and I built it myself. Started more or less. I mean, I'm not. I was a good guy with tools, but with someone coming over, friends, etc., working in this sector and stuff, my own house, and this with the fact that I can do things also with my brain.
Yeah.
I have started pottery class. I'm turning, and I love it, and it's really amazing. This is also a really important thing. I need to more. I disconnect my brain, and I just know how to do things. It's in us as human. Have like thousands of years did use our hands and not much. And I think the element for me to decide to work on the house and to
Yes, amazing. Well, congratulations on the house. That's very impressive. I feel like I wish I could say that. I just built my own house. That's yes. So I think, Thomas, that reminds me, one of the things that I felt like when I transitioned from humanitarian and when I resigned, one of the things that I really had desire for is to create something concrete myself and then say, I did that. So I felt like that was missing in my career of 10 years, is like always wanting to point to something and say, this is what I did. And I think this is, like you're saying, is innate in us as humans. We really want to be working on those policy documents and all the things, which is amazing. It's mental stimulus that Thomas was talking about, but we also need something tangible, something concrete, so that we can like touch, build, like sense it, right? Smell it and hear it, so that we can say this is what we did. So that's why amazing that you are sharing of how you can meet your own needs, basically. So we're coming to our end of session. So Thomas, if you could tell humanitarians who are now contemplating transitioning and what it would be like, and how to do it, what to start, where to start, what would you say you could tell them something specific to start working on?
Okay. Few do it. To transition, do it. It's easy, it's easier than you think. It's possible to come back. If you have the doing an assessment and like sector, would I fit better, could be very interesting also. And working on is really important. To put the finger happy outside of the, it will nourish me, and what would be actually the whole setup, etc. So this thing accompanied by someone is a good idea, because it's to have a perspective, different. Often when it's a coach, etc., things differently, and also phrase the question that we tend to sometimes in not the right way.
Yeah, exactly. Viki, anything you'd like to add?
Just thank you, and for me, what I'm hearing is really being like living this experience, being true to oneself. And one of the things that that is coming to me is that there are no shortcuts. Really, you really have to go through this experience. It's not look for shortcuts or quick solutions, because that is not going to answer the core question within you, like what else is there for me, what is my life purpose, like my humanitarian work was for me, is there something else, and all the other questions that go with it. So thank you very much, Thomas, for your honesty, and in particular speaking also to male public, that is, maybe we have had less men speaking, so I'm particularly happy that you agreed to come and talk to us, because sometimes the connection, as you pointed out, of talking about emotions and men is not another easy subject. So thank you for that, and thank you for your honesty to address really these core questions.
Amazing. And also, Thomas, one of the things that I took from you that I love is that when you are angry, be angry and find out why you're angry, and get curious about it, instead of like, oh, I shouldn't be angry, or I can't be angry, or I should be grateful, or whatever else we like shove it in. Don't do that. And also, what's amazing about our emotions that I find is that they always help us really get to our truth, right? So they're telling us something is not right, so do something. So they're not there to disturb us or to, I don't know, destroy us, which we often think, but rather they're there to tell us it's not how you're supposed to be living your life, so do something. So therefore, go to work and do something about it, and don't ignore. I think this is my biggest takeaway. So thank you, Thomas, for this wisdom that you've all given to us. And thank you to you both. And I hope that if any viewers had difficulty hearing Thomas or any of his messages, let us know. I'm sure he will clarify that. Otherwise, thank you, Thomas, and we wish you good luck and hope to speak to you in the future as well.
Yes. Thank you very much, and best of
Thank you
luck.
all.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye.